Or you can just do it yourself and learn the struggles along the way like we did. But if you want to go the fast route, you got to network and get in the right rooms. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Get After It. I'm your host, Johnny Velarde, and today I'm joined with my brother, Clay Velarde. We're the owners of Valet Parking Pros, and we're going to continue this little mini-series, the innovation in the valet industry. And I'm going to let Clay start off the conversation. He's going to go into the low barrier to entry for valet businesses. So why don't you go ahead and kick it off for us?
All right. Yeah. Glad to be here. And thanks for tuning in, guys. So there is a very low barrier to entry if you want to start your own valet company. Let's be honest. You don't have to invest thousands of dollars into heavy machinery and tech. Really, you need some valet uniforms. You need some, basic valet equipment, cones, signage, etc. And that's good and bad. For us, we started our company with about $15,000 investment, and we grew it to something that's now doing close to $5 million a year in revenue in a short 5 years. However, what's not good is you got a lot of these fly-by-night companies. They're operating without insurance, and they're very quick to underbid you on event deals or maybe ongoing locations such as restaurants or venues, stuff of that nature. So it's difficult from an operation standpoint when you see all these other competitors. You know that they're not paying proper taxes. You know that they're not having the required insurance. And some customers can see past that, but others can't. And those customers that you can't see past that, those are the deals that we lose, which in reality is probably a blessing in disguise. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's very easy to get set up. I mean, you whatever state you're in, you create a little LLC. You get like Clay said, buy some equipment, get some ads, do some door knocking, and that works if you're just getting started. But if you want to grow and grow the business, it's a lot more difficult than just having a keyboard and some polo shirts and some business cards. Like you're going to deal with employer relations. You're going to deal with workers' comp and tax stuff and claims, like it's easy to charge somebody $1,000 for an event. You and 3, 4 of your friends show up, park the cars, whatever. But what happens if you wreck a G-Wagon or something, and you don't have the proper insurance? So there's little things that go into it. The easy barrier to entry for a valet business definitely has its pros, but it also definitely has its cons. So yeah, that's and on the customer side, like if you're shop, like let's say your daughter's having a wedding in Malibu and you're shopping around for valet companies and you're like, why is Parking Pros charging me, $4,800 for this, like for shuttles and valet, and the other company's charging $2,800? Well,
they probably have drivers that aren't correctly licensed and insured, and they're probably paying their staff cash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very likely. Not all the time. Maybe they're just super competitively priced. So, but as the consumer, you got to be wise enough to be able to fish that out. Like some things you could do is ask for proof of insurance. Any reputable shuttle company or valet company should have no problem showing you, proof of insurance. They don't necessarily have to insure your event prior to booking. Like that shouldn't be expected, but they should at least be able to prove that they have insurance. And by insurance, they want to have general liability, garage keepers legal liability, workers comp. That's usually the 3 main things. Yeah, I mean, if the price seems super low, there's probably something weird going on. And if you hire them for a wedding or whatever, they'll park your cars. Probably nothing will happen. But in the rare case that it does happen, someone gets injured, someone dies, the car gets wrecked, cops show up, whatever. You as the customer, you don't think your guests will sue you or your family members will sue you, but I promise you they will. Everyone, when the shit hits the fan, all morals fly out the window, especially in Southern California. So just keep, be wise, be a smart consumer, and that's it. Anything else you want to add on the?
Yeah, no, you hit all the talking points in terms of the low barrier to entry and what sets legit companies apart from companies that are just flying by night.
Yeah. That was our first thing. This leads into the number two. There's three topics here. So the second topic is going to be just not necessarily all the stories are funny, but they're mostly funny. I'll do the first one. I think it was year two, like our technically year two in business, and we got an inquiry for a party in somewhere in the valley, like Encino or Tarzana, and it was like a rapper party. And they wanted a quote for valet, and I should have known, like, right from the beginning, like my gut. Whenever your gut is telling you something, it's probably right. So definitely listen to your gut. This guy reached out for valet service. He was really quick. He didn't question the price. So that was cool. But then he's like, yeah, I need to put it on like 3 different credit cards. Immediate red flag. I should have just like, sour taste in my mouth. But new in business, hungry for the money. It was like a $5,000 deal, so we were trying to get it booked. So he has 3 of his lady friends or sister, whatever. They call. Each one provides a different credit card, like from random addresses, like Idaho and Nebraska, and like, so like immediately off the bat, just it should have been red flags everywhere. Anyways, we get the payment information, we process the payment, everything goes through. And then we show up, we work the event. He has us charging his guests like $15 or $20 a car. And they parked like 60 or 70 cars. So we were charging them per car cash. And then at the end of the event, we gave the money to the guy because that's how he was like justifying paying for the valet, by us charging the cars, which makes sense. Like, we've done that in the past. But for this deal, it just made matters worse because we gave him the money. And then a couple days later, lo and behold, all 3 of the separate credit card transactions, they started like getting disputed. Why? Because they were fraudulent charges. So, at that point, it's too late. We had already given the guy the money that we charged the cars. We had already paid our guys payroll. So not only were we out of pocket for like our expenses, now we were getting disputed for the actual services that we rendered. So it was a total, sour situation. So I would just caution, this goes for any line of business. If you're charging, customers over the phone or whatever, not in person, just make sure that the story lines up, and have a strong contract, and just make sure you're not dealing with fraudulent activity. When you're dealing with credit cards, it's bound to happen. It's just the nature of the business, but really try and limit it. Like, that was a really stupid thing on our end. Like, we should have known that from the get-go.
Yeah, and the reason we made that mistake was because that was year 2. If and currently and since that mistake, whenever we're suspicious of something, we'll always ask them to forward a driver's license that matches the credit card on file. Just a little basic thing like that will mitigate thousands of dollars of disputes. So that was a good one. Something that I wanted to talk about, because I'm the operations guy. So until I find someone to fill my role, whenever shit hits the fan, I'm usually the one who gets the first call. So we were on a cruise, a Royal Caribbean cruise, maybe 3 years ago for our buddy's bachelor party. And we were having a good time. We were in the middle of the ocean, and I was on the blackjack table, and I looked down at my phone, because you're not supposed to have your phone on, and I get a text from a guy who's running our event, and it was a pretty big event. So I open it, and lo and behold, it's a picture of a beautiful C63 AMG dark blue, and the entire radiator was leaking, and there was a massive gash in the bumper. So that kind of set my night off in a spiral, and I quickly got off the table and called him, and he had relayed to me that they drove over steel plates that were in the road left from the city of Beverly Hills, and it put a massive gash in this $150,000 car. And at this point, it was 10 o'clock at night. I was having a good time, and I kind of let my emotions take place, and it kind of ruined my night. And I'm getting better at that, not letting these incidents dictate whether my day is good or not. But let's be honest, when you crash a $150,000 car, you're not gonna be in the best mood. But incidents like that are just part of the business. They happen. They're gonna happen in the future. It's just part of the business. So if you're gonna open up a valet company, no matter how much safety protocols you do, your guys will end up messing up an expensive car. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So be prepared for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was I think I was playing video poker and I had just hit a royal flush too, and then you came over and ruined my night too. So thank you. Yeah. Um Another story. It's not really funny, it's just a story. We were servicing an event in near Lake Sherwood in Westlake Village, if you guys are familiar with Southern California. I think it was like a high school graduation party or some, whatever. And our guys were parking the cars, doing a good job. And this, little to my knowledge, like this is like a year or two after the event, we get a letter in the mail saying that we're like, being brought into like some lawsuit. So I open it, I'm like, what the hell is this? And I guess a young gentleman wrecked his car after the event. But underage drinking, and then had a DUI, crashed his car, and then he's trying to blame the valet company. Like, how does that make sense? It's not, he had a fake ID and he was underage drinking. Like, why is that the valet's problem? They're trying to, I don't really need to get into the details, but I'm just, if these are the kind of things that you need to be ready for, any line of business, you'll have stuff like this where people are, trying to take advantage of the system and just, trying to be, malicious. So just watch out for that. Be careful. But like Clay said, there's nothing you can try and be perfect across all aspects, but at the end of the day, things will happen and you just got to learn to deal with them and not get emotional.
Yeah. Yeah. And some good advice that I received is, especially as an entrepreneur, if you're the one behind the scenes running the company, you're gonna have to get used to highs and lows. You're gonna have a lot of days where you're feeling really high and then a lot of days where you're feeling really low, and just understand that nothing's as bad as it seems and nothing is as good as it seems either. So just try and keep yourself even keeled, and that'll bring you a lot of continued success in the future, and not as much burnout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last story was we had a car. I mean, it was stolen from a restaurant that we service, and if just make sure your valet attendants, they're really verifying like each ticket that gets presented to them, because it's very frequent in the valet industry where they think they remember somebody and they just give them the key, or someone says, "Oh, I lost my ticket, but that's my car." It happens every day, probably hundreds or thousands of times per day, and most 99% of the time it's in good intention, but then every so often you'll have people trying to take advantage of the system. This was one of those cases. Guy says and he was dining in at the restaurant with his friends who actually valeted because they brought us a ticket. This guy was like, "Oh, I lost my ticket, but that's my Tesla." So the valet driver, without thinking about it, was just like, "Oh yeah, makes sense. His friend lost his ticket. The car was already up front. Gave him the key. Guy drives off, and thankfully the car didn't get wrecked or anything, because luck was working in our favor. There happened to be a DUI checkpoint like 2 blocks away, and the guy evades it. So then one of the police from the DUI checkpoint end up following him, and then he gets out of the car and runs. I have no idea if he ever got caught. Probably not. Car and the reason they knew that the car was from the restaurant that we service is because there was a to-go bag. He brought his to-go food and put it in the front seat. He didn't take that with him. He should have. But yeah, that's how the cops realized that the car was probably from that restaurant. So it was like it could have been the car could have got wrecked. Somebody could have got hit. It could have been a really disaster of a situation. Um, it was, regardless, it was shitty, but it ended up working out. So
Yeah. Yeah, so those are some of the stories that we've encountered, and if you end up opening up a company, I'm sure you'll encounter them one day as well. Um, and for our future, what are we looking at for our future outlook, Johnny, in terms of kind of our systems and how are we going to be looking into the future?
like company vision.
Yeah, like are we going because the private events are great. They're high drama, they're high profit. The ongoing accounts are less profit but more consistent. They kind of run themselves a little bit more. Where do you see Parking Pros in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I'd like to just focus on getting more parking lots, whether that's leasing or buying. Parking lots are really great. The shuttle business is really good. We've gotten all of our shuttle drivers a commercial driver, commercially driver license. Um, and going after hotels, hospitals, casinos. The ongoings are great because you that allows you to have like scalability. So like if you have, one or two or three hotels in like in a circle, then you can afford to hire like a manager that kind of oversees all three there, and then it's just less headache. It runs itself. The schedule's already pre-made. Parking's usually on site. They got cameras in case anything happens. Um the downsides is that's where like it's easy to start a valet company, but like you're not going to go and get hired at the Waldorf Astoria, 6 months in. Like
Definitely.
that's going to take you years and years, and you got to nurture relationships and have a reputation. So that takes time. A lot of the companies that we've seen pop up, like they're in and out because they don't have the leadership, they don't have the vision, they don't have the partnerships that we have, and yeah, that's long term is just ongoings, and
Parking lots are great.
yeah, parking
Yeah, the
lots are really
parking lots
good.
are great. It's a lot more profit, a lot more profitable to rent a parking lot as opposed to owning them because any parking lot that's worth having is going to be expensive real estate, something near the beach or in the city center, something with high traffic. And these parking lots are expensive. The problem with renting them, though, is someone else can outbid you, or the landlord can decide that they want to maybe redevelop the property or do it themselves. So you always have that risk of losing it after the contract's over. So something that we're trying to get more into is consulting with local partners, local operators around, and trying to give them some of our 2 cents. What are your thoughts on that, Johnny?
Yeah, yeah, building relationships is everything. And I feel like we had a high chance of success in this business because our father had a valet company and our mom also technically. So we've been around it our whole lives. And I feel like that's pretty common for people that want to get into the parking business. It's like, the roofing business or the fencing business. It's like most people that get into that probably had a background in it at some point. So that really helped guide our success. And right now we're at the point where we want to help others. So if you're in, if you really are interested in the parking business or valet or whatever, reach out. We can give you a little guidance, a little bit of mentorship. We have a coaching package also. Like if you really want to, because what we did is we did everything ourselves and we learned the hard way, and we didn't have anyone that kind of guided us. That I could never ask anyone that's done 5 or 10 million a year how to grow your valet company. But now we're at that point. So if you want to build something real in your city or in your market, you need somebody that's where you want to be. So, or you can just do it yourself and learn the struggles along the way like we did. But if you want to go the fast route, you got to network and get in the right rooms. And yeah, that's
Yeah, you got to pay to be in the right rooms,
yeah.
and not have a scarcity mindset. That'll shape your trajectory much faster for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say you got like once you hit like you can do a lot of stuff yourself. And you really, I mean, you probably need to do it all yourself so you can learn everything. But once you hit like if you can hit $1 million in revenue, like once you hit that point to get to 3 million, then you gotta have some good systems in place. And then to go from like 3 to 5 or 5 to 10, it's just all about systems and having, because you can't do everything. You can't wear all the hats. You got to learn to give up some of the power and trust that others can do the work. So
Yeah. Yeah. So reach out, social media, Valet Parking Pros, the YouTube channel, follow the podcast and reach out. Don't be shy. We're happy to give some guidance and work together, we can partner. We can give you some advice and hopefully trade some value.
yeah. That's it for this one. We'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you have an amazing week. Get after it.